Recording. So welcome everyone to the Make Money Now coaching call. This is the second call in this series, and last week we talked about how we work our sphere. Just a little bit of a recap. In Tom Ferry's coaching, he talks about how we all need 6 to 10 lead sources, and he focuses in on a core 4 lead sources. So these 4 main lead sources are what all of us have to have in our arsenal. And that core 4 is working our center of influence. He defines center of influence as a combination of our sphere of influence and our past clients. So it's just, instead of having them as being separate things, puts them into the same group of people, calling it the center of influence, and our activities on them can be the same. I'm just going to go ahead and mute everybody other than me, and if somebody's got a question, just say something and I can unmute you. The second in the core 4, which is what we're going to be doing a very deep, quick dive into today, is geographic farming. And I'm gonna talk about this briefly. Geographic farming is the second most profitable form of marketing and the second most profitable lead source. The first most profitable lead source is our center of influence. And I believe that we have the ability to create a condition where our geographic farming is even more profitable than our center of influence, and it even becomes our center of influence. The other two are obviously working online leads, and the fourth being mega open houses. Now, the numbers are important in understanding why geographic farming is in Make Money Now. And here's what I'm going to tell you. You take any group of people, including a group of people that live near you, and you interact with them in a targeted way, you're going to run into people who need to buy or sell a home now. So the reason why it's included in the Make Money Now is 2 reasons. First is because you do have a very high likelihood of making money now, like calling your sphere. The second is, as we are building our portfolio of our real estate business, this is one of the most profitable long-term ones. And if we're not, it's like, Juan and I joke around about this all the time. There are 2 excellent times to start farming a neighborhood: 20 years ago and right now. Those are the 2 best times to start farming a neighborhood. And if you didn't start it 20 years ago, well, then you might as well just start now. So what is geographic farming? Geographic farming is a long-term specific marketing effort based solely on geography. Now, I know there's a lot of software out there that attempts to make this easier and better, and using some predictive algorithms to tell you which homeowners are going to be selling soon or now. And that might be great in one of our other lead gen sources, but that is not geographic farming. Geographic farming is picking a group of homes and it's based solely on their geography, that you are marketing to in a very specific way in order to get business. And if we look at numbers, we're not going to talk today about how to pick a farm area. We're going to talk about that next week, and we'll work on that one-on-one this week. But if you look at 100 homes, if you have a turnover rate of 10%, which is 10 homes a year, if we are doing a targeted marketing effort to those 100 homes, we have a high likelihood of reaching 25 to 35% market share within 18 months. So we're looking at 5 listings, 4 listings a year out of those 10, 8 transactions a year out of those 20, and that's a pretty good business from working 100 homes. So I'm going to dig in, and I'm going to give you all the different aspects of what it means to work geographic farming. The first, the most important, the most traditional is print marketing. This is essential. Print marketing is one of the first things that people leave out because of its expense. I'll talk to you about the expense of print marketing and how to reduce those costs, but it is an essential piece of geographic farming. The second is circle dialing. This is the first one from a time perspective that established agents stop doing, and that is they stop calling into that farm area on a regular basis. I'll get into what we should be doing around circle dialing in a minute when we drill down into these each individual categories. The third is email marketing. Email marketing is the hardest one to do because, especially in the beginning, we don't have email addresses for the people that live in our neighborhood. This takes more time in developing our database. Next, targeted digital marketing. If you're not familiar with AdWorks, if you're not familiar with Retarga, if you're not familiar with iCircle, these are digital marketing methodologies to actually target a specific home and target the people who live in that home using digital marketing. Daily in-farm activities. There are things that you should be doing every day in your farm, and I'll give you that list of activities. Door knocking. Door knocking is essential, and it is one of these aspects. If you're only doing one of these or only doing two of these, you're not doing it right, and you're not going to have the results of 25 to 35% market share. And you know, I'll tell you, I'm lazy. I don't want to have to get dressed and get in my car and drive a half an hour in order to talk to somebody about buying or selling a home. I want to be able to get up, walk out of my front door and talk to my neighbors, work with my neighbors, or if need be, drive 2 minutes from where I live to do this. And those are the people, those are the listings that I want. And those are the people that I want to sell homes to. Events. You should be doing local events or piggybacking on other people's local events, and we'll talk about that as well. And then Facebook, social media. Okay, so I can see everybody's cameras here, and we can raise our hands for this. How many of you have a "My name is Chris and I'm an awesome realtor" Facebook page? Nobody cares about your Facebook page. They actually hate your Facebook page, but they won't tell you that. Here's what people like. People like Facebook pages that have to do with them, not Facebook pages that have to do with you. So developing a niche Facebook page is essential for working a farm area. I have mine. I'll invite all of you to it. It is Coit and Beltline. Does anybody want to guess where I live? I live at the corner of Coit and Beltline. That's why that's the name of my Facebook niche page. So print marketing. If any of you have ever read Gary Keller's Millionaire Real Estate Agent, if you've read Life by Design by Tom Ferry, if you've read any of the established coaches and professionals in the real estate community, they all talk about print marketing. They all talk about an 8x8 and a 12x12. Tom Ferry does a 2x12, which means 2 marketing pieces a month for 12 months. I really like Gary Keller's 8x8, 12x12. Every time I've implemented it, it has been successful. Every time. Okay, so let me repeat that. Every time I've implemented it, it has been successful. I have never seen anyone do this and not be successful. You're looking at sending out 1 print piece a week for 8 weeks. It establishes you as the real estate agent for your neighborhood. At the end of 8 weeks, everyone in your neighborhood will know who you are if you follow this. Everyone in your neighborhood will think about real estate when they think about you, and I'll get into some of the strategy about what to do within this 8x8. But realistically, here are things that you need to know. You need to personally sign all letters. It has to be personally signed. When I was managing a local luxury boutique brokerage, we actually went out and digitized the agent's signature because she could not sign the 3,000 letters a week that we were sending out. It was just impossible. So we had to get paid to have it digitized. Once you get to that level of farming, then we can talk about digitizing. For now, just sign it. Envelopes have to be personally addressed. You can do this yourself, or you can get slave labor to do it. For me, slave labor is children, usually teenagers, young teenagers. So Juan, doing a letter addressing party for Sebastian and Ava. It's perfect. Kids love it, and you give them a wonderful, really expensive prize like pizza, and they'll sit and they'll address envelopes for you. Or you have a letter, an addressing party, and you invite the other people on this coaching call to come over and help you address your letters, but then they're going to invite you, so it's the same thing. So I establish a budget of $500 per 100 homes for month 1 and 2. It's going to be about 15 hours a month in month 1 and 2. After months 1 and 2, we're looking at $125 per 100 homes. It's $1.25 per mailer. I've got ways that I can get this down to 50 cents per mailer, and I'll talk about some of them. So a sample 8x8. So your first touch point in your 8x8 is an introductory letter that's personally addressed and signed by you. Use your real return address. If you don't have I'm going to upload the presentation. You don't have to take pictures of it. You'll have this. I'll get it out to everybody. So the intro letter, you want it to be personally addressed, and you want it to be signed. The envelope needs to be personally addressed, and it needs to be signed. And what you want to be doing in this is you are setting the benchmark of who you are and what your connection is to the neighborhood. You want to include what your credentials are, and you want to include what your experience is. Now I'm going to show you an example of an amazing intro letter. It's actually a neighborhood newsletter, sort of. It's a monthly market analysis that includes some of this biographical information, but all of us have amazing biographical information that connects us to our neighborhood, right? And it's going to take some creativity and some thought to think that up. But we all have that, even if we don't have a lot of experience in real estate. Next, week 2, a vendor list. Here's the thing. I have a vendor list of people that I would recommend to my neighbors. This is a great way, and we'll talk about this later, about how to get to know your neighbors, and then just knock on their door and ask them give them a copy of your vendor list and ask them who they would want to put on the vendor list for your neighborhood. It's an excellent way to interact with them and an excellent way to get their input. And also, I'll tell you something else. If you have kids in your neighborhood, especially young teens who are looking to make money, like mowing lawns or babysitting or things like that, promoting your neighbor's kids is a great way to get them to give you real estate business down the road, right? And to foster those relationships. There's one thing on my vendor list that I always have, and that is Girl Scout cookies, right? So I always have at least one person from my neighborhood that has a kid that's selling Girl Scout cookies on that list, Girl Scout cookies, so they know who to call to get Girl Scout cookies, right? It just makes sense. I like doing a Cowboys football schedule depending upon the time of the year. Just listed, just sold postcards. I'm going to give you a trick. You can put new to the market in our neighborhood postcards, and they don't have to be your listings. You can do a just sold postcard, and it doesn't have to be your listing. It can be the listing of a property that has sold in your neighborhood. Obviously, you're not putting the price on it, but you can leverage the work that other people are doing in your neighborhood, because if they're not sending out a just sold postcard, even if they are, you should be as well.
Chris, no rules or laws against that?
None.
Awesome.
None. Neighborhood newsletters, free home analysis newsletters, these are all things that I think we all understand in general how to do them. But this 8x8 is establishing you as an expert in the neighborhood. Next, Facebook and social media. Create a niche marketing page. My suggestion would be do it based on geography. So what you want to be doing is something like mine, Coit Beltline, and you invite people to join the Coit Beltline Facebook social media page. I'll invite all of you to mine so you can see what I do. I've got, my hometown, Allen, that I've been playing around with, and it's been alive for 2 or 3 years, that I've been working on for Juan and Bettina. This is not This is not rocket science. You want to make sure you're curating a minimum of 5 posts per week that have nothing to do with real estate. They have to do with the local neighborhood. And then 1 post a week that is real estate related. So what I like to do is I like to put up, this home just came on the market in our neighborhood, or this is my favorite house in the neighborhood. And it's a picture of the house and it's a link back to my website so that they can create a search, so that they can interact with me with that home. We'll talk later about executing a strategy at local likes and participation, but this involves involving local businesses, because your promotion of local businesses is what is going to get you the most likes on your niche marketing page. I like doing targeted Facebook ads to get likes and engagement. I like making my targeted Facebook ads so specific that Facebook does not want to do it. So when Facebook sends you the message, your target market is too small. You must increase your target market. That's when you have to send them a support email and say, no, this is exactly the target market that I want. I want the 400 people that fit this exact criteria. Those are the people that I want to market to. And then down the road, paid boosting of posts, definitely within that same specific area. And if you're not already a member of Nextdoor, join Nextdoor now, immediately. All right, email. I suggest doing 2 emails a month to everybody that's in your farming database. Use full HTML. Use Constant Contact or MailChimp. MailChimp is free and have good templates. The content should mirror the direct mail and the calling campaigns that you're doing, right? So if you're doing a letter this week that's introducing and next week a just sold, then you want your email in that same 2-week period of time to have the same look and feel as your print marketing. The content should be value-based. Like, I want you to take off your "I want to be a marketer and tell you why you should do business with me" hat, and I want you to put your hat on of "I want to deliver value to my neighborhood." And if that's your focus, you will earn their business. And the events that you do and any open house invitations that you do, that you're calling about or that you're sending out in the mail, should also be emailed. Circle dialing. I call every person in my farm area once a month. You're only going to get a hold of 10 to 15% of them at most. If you've got a farming area of 100, like I do, I've got a really small 100 homes. This is really easy to do. It's pretty much 25 phone calls a week. I think I can fit that into my busy schedule in between my morning nap and second breakfasts, right? You all do morning naps and second breakfasts, right? I guess it's just me. So the content of the call and the voicemail should be in line with the monthly messaging. As you increase the size of your farm area, I like to use a dialer. I've used Vulcan, I've used Mojo. Vulcan's my favorite just because it seems to be easier for me to use. And I have a recorded voicemail that goes to people. This recorded voicemail is one that I record while I'm doing something. And I'll give you an example. I do it while I'm walking to the store so that they can hear the background noise, and I make sure I get distracted. Hey, it's Chris Weaver, your neighbor over at 1421 Stagecoach Drive, and I was just calling. Hey, wait, sorry about that. A car just pulled out right in front of me. I'm sorry. I'm walking over to Starbucks from the house. Sorry about that. But the reason why I was calling you is I wanted to invite you to an open house that we're having over at our neighbor's house over on South Cottonwood Drive this Saturday from 1 to 2. I know you'll be getting the email. I just wanted to make sure I personally invited you. Have a great day. Boom, I'm off the call. So when I record that on my dialer, right, everybody that don't get a hold of automatically gets dropped that voicemail. They believe I've called them specifically and left them a very specific voicemail. Does that make sense? All right, door knocking. How many of you, and this is recorded, so I've got to be careful, how many of you have ever heard of Russell Rhodes? The Rhodes team. They are one of the #1 real estate teams in the country. They're previously with Keller Williams. They're now with Berkshire Hathaway, and I've worked some in the past with Russell Rose. I'm personal friends with his sister Terry Wages, who's on the team, and her husband Tim and I are very good friends. And when I asked Russell back in 2009, why do you dominate Flower Mound? He says, we dominate Flower Mound because a member of our team, and at the time his team was only family members, right? They've grown since then. A member of our team every quarter has face-to-face contact with every resident of Flower Mound. Wow, that's why you're so successful. He says, yeah, because we knock on everyone's door. We have a database, and we know that we have seen them face-to-face, and we log that interaction. That's why we door knock. We door knock so that I can be face-to-face and eye-to-eye and knee-to-knee with one of my neighbors. Have a value-based script. Don't be knocking on the door and say, hi, I'm Chris from down the road, and I'm a real estate agent, and I want to sell your home. Have you thought about selling your home? No, forget about that. That's last century's marketing. I want to talk about something that has value to them. I'm either bringing them a coupon or bringing them some information that I think will be of value to them. I'm going to talk about previewing homes, but immediate neighbors should be door knocked following all previews and showings in your farm. 2 on each side, 4 across the street minimum. And I'll go into this a little bit more detail later when I'm talking about the process of previewing homes. Obviously, we're door knocking to invite neighbors to attend open houses and to announce just listeds. Co-door knock with other people, like Girl Scouts and other charities. So here's a wonderful way to make your neighbors love you. Walk the neighborhood with your daughter or with somebody else's daughter, but don't be careful. Don't give them candy or invite them into your minivan. But walk walk that neighborhood with this Girl Scout, selling Girl Scout cookies, and match what they do for charity. So, and you can stop whenever you want to, but it is not that expensive. You say, okay, for every, and if you want to be cheap, then every 5 boxes of cookies that she sells, I'm buying a box of cookies, and I'm going to take it down to the food bank, or going to give it to the local church as a charity for those people that can't afford to buy Girl Scout cookies, right? Or something along those lines. And it's a co-branding, a co-marketing event. Anytime any of your kids or a friend's kid, I don't have kids, so I usually use friends' kids for things like this. If they're trying to raise money for the school band or a school trip, I say, hey, come to my neighborhood. We'll door knock the neighborhood together, because it gives me access to my neighbors. Always have a gift. Always have a gift. Let me say, okay, so how often should we have a gift? Always. In my pocket, always have coupons that I clip that are from local restaurants, local companies, and I've got them in my pocket so that I at any time can pull out a coupon or pull something out and give it to one of my neighbors. Make sense? All right. Events. Quarterly neighborhood events that give us an opportunity to engage our farm face-to-face. And also, obviously, we are going to be door knocking around this and emailing around this and calling around this. Mega open houses can be used as quarterly events. I like doing a mega open house and using it as an event. It is not a normal Sunday 2 to 4. Usually these are ones that are longer. Slavik, you and I were talking about doing broker opens and things like that. But these are bigger. These are ones where you've got entertainment, you've got clowns, you've got bouncy bouncy houses. And all right, so I have found this. If anybody wants this, I will get them out the information. I have found an Irish pub bouncy house. It is actually a blow up. I just saw Jeff's eyes light up. I think his head's about to explode. But it is a bouncy. It's one of those inflatable houses that is an Irish pub. And you do it and you go in and you don't bounce in it. Well, you bounce when you fall off the bar stool, but it basically gives you an Irish pub in your backyard. There are lots of things like this. You don't even have to spend money on it, because mortgage companies and home warranty companies and title companies are more than willing to be engaged and sponsor and participate. Targeted digital marketing. So if you're not familiar with this, get familiar with it. This is, okay, I want to repeat this. This is how Barack Obama and Donald Trump, their digital marketing people, claimed that the reason why Barack Obama was president and Donald Trump was president was because of retargeting and digital marketing. So here's what it is. You upload a list of email addresses to Retarga or to AdWorks. And every time that person is online on sites that they are working with, they will see your ad. So your face and, hey, have you wondered what your home's worth? Or whatever. Or, hey, are you going over to the Cottonwood Art Festival? I'd love to see you there. It's just something that brands you to your neighbors. This is very, 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 very effective and inexpensive marketing. AdWorks is a little bit more expensive, but it gives you a little bit more customization. Retarga is dirt cheap, and it is insane the level of presence that you get for a very, very small amount of money. And I'm more than willing to interact and help anybody who doesn't understand how this works offline. So daily in-farm activities. When I say daily, I mean every day. That's what daily means, every day. The consistency of doing these things every day is what gives you the value and gives you your return. Walk your dog, walk your cat, walk your kids, walk yourself daily in your farm area. Every day. Do it at different times of the day. I would also say, and I've had a couple of people that have done this, this is most effective when you walk your neighborhood until you have a live conversation with a neighbor. It might always be the same neighbor because they're always out the same time you're doing your drive, but this is extremely, extremely important. Do one act of kindness a day for somebody that's in your farm. Preview all new listings in your farm as they come on the market. The day they come on the market, have a tickler, have a search tickler so that you know when a new home comes on the market in your neighborhood that isn't listed by you. Shame on you. Go preview it. Give feedback. Leave your business card after you've shown the property. This is essential. As soon as you're done showing the property, you then go and you knock on the neighbor's door and say, hi, I'm Chris. I know you know me from the neighborhood, but I was just previewing the home next door. And I just wanted to ask you if you knew of anybody who might be, looking to move into the neighborhood. I know I like to have control over who's my neighbor, right? Great way to encourage them to sell within the neighborhood. Okay, additional tips. And this is my last slide, and I'm 1 minute late, and I apologize for that. Wrap your car or at least get a magnet. Wrap your car or at least get a magnet. This gives you the ability to have a sign in your yard all the time. Wear your name tag always. If you are leaving your home, have your name tag on. This identifies you as being on the clock and working. When people were asked about the name tag, and NAR has done lots of research on this, is when you're wearing your name tag, people feel like they have the right to walk up to you and talk to you about real estate. Even if they recognize you, if you're not wearing your name tag, they think you're on your own time and you don't want them to talk to them about real estate. The same is true about magnets and wrapping your car. And yes, Slavek, you can wrap a motorcycle. I've seen it. Gas up locally. It's free advertising if your car is wrapped, right? That way your neighbors see you doing something in the neighborhood regularly. Spend at least a couple hours a day in a local parking lot. Now what that means is if you've got a Starbucks nearby, work from that Starbucks for a couple of hours a day. If you're going to be doing shopping, shop locally, but so that people see your car, right? Because it's advertising for you. Park on the street if you've got a driveway. right? Park on the street, the one that's wrapped. If you have street parking, if you don't have street parking, drive slowly up and down your street. Let your kids drive your car up and down your street when you're not around. No, don't do that. That's probably going to get me in trouble for suggesting that, but that's okay. Get a listing now. This is the most important thing. How many of you own the home that you're currently living in? How many of you have your home on the market right now? It should be on the market right now. It should be on the market right now. I'm going to play a game, okay? I'm going to unmute Juan. He doesn't know I'm going to do this, but I'm going to play a game with Juan.
All right.
What's your home worth?
Somewhere around the 330 mark.
Okay, so if I could get you a cash buyer at 350, would you sell it today?
I'd consider it.
What about 360?
I'd consider it more.
380?
Sold.
Okay, so Juan, you're my friend. I need your help. Here's what I'd like to do. I'd like to talk to you about putting your home on the market for $380,000 cash. It allows you to put a sign in your yard, and it allows me to market your home. Realistically, nobody's going to want to come see your home and bother you because it's overpriced. We're only going to put it on the market for a month. If someone actually comes through and offers to buy your home at 380 or 370 or close, you'd be willing to take their money, wouldn't you?
Yep.
And if not, it gives me the ability to test the market so we know what your home is really going to be worth when you're ready to sell. And also it's going to help me get some buyers that want to live here in the neighborhood. Would you be willing to consider something like that?
I guess so. Sure. Why not? I got nothing to lose.
Okay. All right. So that is a conversation you can have with people that you know and people that love you. People that don't like you probably aren't going to do it, but people that love you will, right? So, you know, mom and dad and aunt and uncle and anybody that's got a house that you would want to market to get buyers from. And most importantly, you should have a sign in your yard. That's how you get a listing now. So all of you should have a listing by the end of the day. And guess what? You're supposed to overprice your own home. That's what all realtors do. If you were not trained that in Realtor 101, I'll tell you that now. That's how you know if a home is overpriced, is if it's listed by the agent who owns it. Then you know it is at least 15% overpriced. That's just it's true. All right, so how many of you carry swag with you? Hats, Juan and Bettina pens, EXP notebooks. Always have swag, always be giving away swag, always have something that brands you, that markets you, that you can put in somebody's hands. If you're, I understand many of us have budgetary, that's why it's Make Money Now, budgetary constraints. Go out and find things that you can do that are inexpensive or cheap. Co-brand with somebody else. Co-brand with a mortgage guy. Co-brand with a title company. Co-brand with your local Pizza Hut. Co-brand with someone so that you've got some swag that you can be putting in people's hands and giving it to them. So I am going to go ahead and stop the recording and open it up for questions.